Um, I'm gonna try to show you how to do a box and whisker plot as well as a, we'll do a um, histogram as well with this data that we're given on number 91. They're talking about text messages and how many text messages are sent by teenagers and stuff. So a bunch of data was taken from one day. One teacher took it. I think it was Mr. Wilson. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to take this data that he gave us, and it's all right here in your book, and I'm going to enter it into my calculator. So I'm going to go ahead and just reset my calculator. And under Stat, under Edit, this is where I enter all my data. So I'm going to enter that rather quickly. So 7, 1, 29, 25, 8, 5, 1, 25, 98, 9, 0, 26, 72, 92, 52, 14, 3, 3, 44, 5, and 42. Okay, so I've entered all those in. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is first I'm going to go to second stat plot, and I have to turn on my stat plot. So I'm going to turn that on, and I press enter right here so that on is highlighted. Now, as you can see, I can do a histogram, I can do a box and whisker plot with outliers, you name it. So first thing that I'm going to do is let's take a look at the histogram, okay? I know this isn't part of the problem, but I wanted to show you. So here's our histogram, and then I'm going to press on the histogram and then graph it. Now you can see this looks kind of strange, right? So I'm going to zoom, press my zoom, and if I just arrow up, I can get to zoom stat or zoom fit. I'm going to do stat, okay? So what happens is that's created, here's my data, okay? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 intervals, right? 7 intervals. So let's go back to our 5-number summary. So press stat, calc, and do one of our stats, right? So we have 24 units. Our min is 0. So this is our min is 0. Our Q1 is 4. Our median is 11.5. Oh gosh, I hope I did these right. Let me do this again. So I have 0, 7, 1, 29, 25, 8, 5, 1, 25, 98, 9, 0, 26, 8, 118, 72, 0. Oops, I skipped a 0. I got 92, 52, 14, 3, 3, 44, 5, 42, and I'm missing one more. I have a 0. So I knew I was off. So I'm going to do this again. Stat, calc. So let's try this again. Okay, so our minimum is 0, our Q1 is 3, our median is 9, our Q3 is 43, and our max is 118. Now let me go ahead and do this again. Second stat plot, turn it on. We'll go ahead and do this and graph it. Okay, so again, we still have 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So our range of values, our max was 118 and our min is 0. So what I'm going to do to get your intervals, I'm going to do 118 minus 0, which is just 118, and I'm going to divide that by 7. So each of your intervals is going to be approximately 17 units wide. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. So my first interval, so I'm going to go back to my graph. This is going to be from 0 to 17, right? This is going to be 17 to 34. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense as far as your intervals go. So that should help you a lot when you're doing that. Now, I've done my Q1 and Q3. My IQR is 43 minus 3, which is Q3 minus Q1, which is 40. So my IQR is 40, and I'm going to use that IQR row. So one more thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into stat plot, and I'm going to go ahead and put it on, I'm going to put it on the stem and leaf plot with the outliers, and then I'm going to graph it. Okay, so there's our stem and leaf plot. Okay, so here's an outlier right here, and so according to the calculator, we have one outlier. Okay, so let's calculate that. Given that, because we have a max of 118, so let's go ahead and calculate our IQR and make sure that we have just one outlier. So my IQR right here is, sorry guys, this is going to go a little funky on you. Okay, so my IQR is 40, I'm sorry. Why is that not turning out nicely? There we go. All right, so 1.5 times 40 is going to give me 60, right? So I take Q3 and I add is equal to 43, and I add 60 to it, and I get 103. And Q1 is 3, and if I took away 60, I have negative 57. All right. Now, I didn't have any negative numbers. You can't send negative number text, but you do have 103. So I'm going to see if there's anything over 103. Well, we already see that our max is 118. So there's 1. So according to our data, we only have one number, which is 118, which is our max, and that's your outlier. Okay, so going back to this, all right, that is going to be our outlier. So what you see is our minimum is 0, so it's right over here, and our Q1 is 3, so it's a very small distance between the minimum and Q1, right? Our median, which is really weird, is 9, and then our Q3 is 43. It jumps all the way to 43. So as you can see, remember that our data was skewed to the right, okay? That makes sense to you. Do you see how this long arm right here is skewed to the right? So I wanted to show you that. So the questions on 91 was make a box plot, and do the data support the claim that about the number of texts seen by teens? Justify your answer. Well, this is only one day, so that's another thing. But the article claims that teens send 1,742 texts a month. This turns out to be 58 texts a day. All right. That seems pretty high given this data set, just this one data set. One of the 25 cents fewer than that. In fact, half of the students sent fewer than that. So it is a pretty high claim. So let's just assume that that's not working. Now, the box and whisker plot that's done in the book, they did a vertical one, which I don't know why they would do a vertical one. But just kind of gives you an idea of how you can display a vertical box plot. Okay, although I prefer this one because this is the one that we're kind of used to. So I hope that's helpful, guys. Again, use your histogram and stuff. You have to do a histogram on the test, so make sure that you're able to do that. And I will review that again with you guys in class. Okay, have a great day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.